Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 530 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Hello, good Sunday evening, folks. Thank you for tuning into the Q2 Weekend News. I'm Dustin Klemann. President Donald Trump's tour of Asia is coming to a close with a controversial meeting. Mr. Trump is sitting down with the president of the Philippines, who was accused of fighting the war on drugs in his country by killing drug users. CBS's Laura Podesta has tonight's report.
Wearing traditional Philippine clothing, President Trump greeted Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte and his wife Sunday. The dinner in Manila was a celebration marking the 50th anniversary of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations.
It is my pleasure to welcome you all to Manila.
During the meal, Mr. Trump and Duterte sat side by side and were seen toasting and talking. Duterte has been under fire for his crackdown on drugs in the Philippines. Since being elected last year, he's accused of ordering police to kill thousands of drug dealers and drug users. He told reporters President Trump has praised his handling of the issue.
And he said something about, you handle it very well.
This comes after brief encounters a day earlier with Russian President Vladimir Putin. President Trump said he believed Putin's claim Russia did not meddle in the 2016 U.S. election. John Brennan, former director of the CIA, and James Clapper, former director of national intelligence, said they were confused by President Trump's comments.
It's very clear that the Russians interfered in the election, and it's still puzzling as to why Mr. Trump does not acknowledge that and embrace it.
On the streets of Manila, people are protesting Mr. Trump's visit to the island nation. At one point, police used water cannons to disperse crowds. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
Trump's visit to the Philippines is the last leg of his five-nation tour of Asia. We'll have more tonight at 10. Back here in our region, Billings police are bringing back a successful unit to help combat crime in the Magic City. Beginning in 2018, a 5-personnel street crime unit will fight the quality of life crimes that we see as citizens: burglaries, thefts, stolen guns, stolen vehicles, which both have seen a sharp uptick over the past few years. A street crime unit was used for years up until the late 90s when it was cut due to staffing shortages. Now, having a dedicated unit, police are looking to cut down on these crimes and find those responsible.
You're going to have officers out there in an undercover capacity, conducting investigations and again trying to catch individuals either in the act or finding out who they are and locating them and investigating them for these crimes that they may be involved with. So we're hoping that it will produce some big results for us.
With BPD at full level staff, 3 patrol officers will be assigned, including a detective and a detective sergeant. For much of the past summer, we brought you news of fires burning across the Treasure State. One of those fires, it was the Myers Fire, a lightning-caused blaze southwest of Phillipsburg. Hundreds for firefighters across the country worked on that blaze to keep it from spreading and destroying private property in the area. To do that, it required dozer lines, hand lines, and miles of fire breaks. So what happens to all that now that the fire is out? Well, it turns out work on the fire rehab had already begun before the flames were extinguished.
We kind of took that over and took rehab on. And we got lucky with weather because the fire subsided and we were able to just do rehab and not fight fire and suppress it and do rehab.
And again, we have specialists that are out looking at effects to archaeology, effects to wildlife, travel management. We will be having, vegetation management, whether it's salvage logging or the need to replant in the future if that comes up. So it is definitely long-term and multifaceted.
The early rehab work included stacking logs cut to make fire breaks to get ready to sell. Myers Fire also burned in the Pintler Wilderness area, meaning rehab efforts require special rules. The Myers Fire burned more than 62,000 acres of forest southwest of Phillipsburg. The canines in law enforcement have big responsibilities, but their handlers have the responsibility of keeping them safe. MTN's Caitlin Corbett tells us about a program aimed at keeping our furry friends safe while on the job.
And it was a gap we needed to fill, so we did.
Trained canines make up an important part of local law enforcement. From search and rescue to drug detection, these dogs do it all. But some of their tasks can make for dangerous situations. where help could be hours away. That's why the group Canine Medic made its first trip to Heart of the Valley Animal Shelter in Belgrade this weekend to give handlers and professionals from as far as Utah and Wyoming hands-on training to keep their canines safe while on the job.
So we're teaching all the handlers here today how to deal with traumatic injuries for their dogs, how to deal with heat and cold injuries. We're teaching them how to better be able to manage any types of illnesses that might come up in the field, bloat, tension pneumothoraxes, all kinds of different things.
Throughout the training, the handlers use these stuffed but pretty realistic-looking dogs to practice medical procedures for emergency situations.
It's an excellent opportunity to get a little more in-depth first aid. We do search and rescue in wilderness settings all over the place, actually, and this will really help us for emergency situations to protect our partners.
Founder of Canine Medic Joanne Brenner says that this training can give handlers the confidence to make sure their furry partners are in good hands while on the job.
The biggest thing we're here is to make a difference for their dogs. And so the biggest thing is that they can prevent many of these injuries from ever happening in the first place, that they can support their dog when they're in the field, and ultimately if that emergency does strike, that the handler knows that they have the confidence to take care of their dog when their dog really needs them.
The participants will go through one more day of training where they will learn more advanced techniques for extreme situations. Reporting in Belgrade, Caitlin Corbett, MTN News.
Thank you very much, Caitlin. Still ahead on the Q2 530 News tonight. Hunters, you want millions of acres to hunt on? Montana FWP has news of a program you'll want to listen to later on. And it's going to be sports, too. Go back to Bozeman, where Central and Huntley Project claimed state volleyball titles in an impressive fashion. Over in the Weather Center, Rob Griggs. Am I crazy? Did it feel warmer outside today?
Yeah, you're crazy.
Okay.
No, it was about the same temperature. Maybe
You're
a little
honest.
less wind. I'm just being honest with you, brother. Hey, we had a really nice day. Great way to kick off the weekend, but an even better day tomorrow for the work week. There are some showers in the forecast. Be sure to download that free Q2 Storm Tracker weather app. We'll have that forecast for you, and you're not crazy, in just a few minutes. Stay with us.
You're watching MTN News with Dustin Klemann. Storm Tracker weather with Rob Griggs. And sports with Casey Conlon. This is the 530 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.